Excuse me.
Please respond, and then we're going to have
follow-up
follow-up
questions. If this stuff is true about Russia, Ukraine, China, other countries, Iraq, if this is true, then he's a corrupt politician.
All right.
So don't give me the stuff about how you're this innocent baby. Joe, they're calling you a corrupt politician.
Nobody.
President Trump, I want to stay on the issue of race. We're talking about the issue.
Laptop from hell.
President Trump, we're talking about race right now, and I do want to stay on the issue of race. President Trump,
I have to respond to that.
Please,
because look,
very quickly.
there are 50 former national intelligence folks who said that what he's accusing me of is a Russian plant. They have said that this has all the five former heads of the CIA, both parties, say what he's saying is a bunch of garbage. Nobody believes it except his and his good friend Rudy Giuliani.
You mean the laptop is now another Russia hoax?
And that's exactly what.
Is this
that's
where you're
exactly
going?
what.
This is
told.
where he's going.
Hey everyone, welcome to The New Populist. I'm Dave Brown. If you are new to the channel, please like and subscribe. Without being dramatic, I think it's pretty obvious that the biggest election meddlers are not China, not Russia, not any foreign country, but U.S. intelligence. We saw there in that clip, Joe Biden mentioned 50 former members of U.S. intelligence signing a document saying that it was probable that the Hunter Biden laptop and emails were part of a Russian disinformation campaign. Now, when you look at that letter, they were clever. They didn't say it was definitive, only that it fit a pattern and that it probably was Russian disinformation. And that left them that out so that in the future, because believe it, they knew back then it was real. So they knew in the future at some point in time when it got confirmed to be real, they would have something in this letter that would give them out where they could say, hey, we thought it was real, but we never said we knew for 100% that it was real. So they left themselves that out. And when you look at who signed this letter, it's ridiculous. We got Jim Clapper, we have Michael Hayden, Leon Panetta, John Brennan, John McLaughlin, Michael Morrell. These are all former heads and former acting heads of the DNI, FBI, CIA, NSA, and they come from both sides of the aisle. This was not about protecting Biden because he was a Democrat. This was about protecting the establishment. It is not about DNR, it's about insider versus outsider. And this pattern of interference goes beyond this laptop story. In 2016, the dossier. How long was that in the eye of the FBI where they wouldn't comment on it because they were investigating? What they were trying to do was push it past the election before they actually came back and said, okay, we think it's phony. Likewise, in 2018, the midterms. Mueller's team knew before the midterms that there was no collusion between Trump and Russia. Yet they waited till after the midterms to make that report. And we had this pattern repeat over and over again. Anything that hurts Trump is thrown out there immediately. Anything that hurts an establishment candidate, they slow roll it until after the elections, and then they crawl back and admit to it at a time when people are very distracted. Obviously, right now, we have the Russia-Ukraine war, and so this is a perfect time to make this acknowledgement that the laptop and the emails were real, and they're hoping that you're not going to be paying attention. And we can go back decades to see the FBI and CIA interfering. Obviously, Operation Mockingbird, where the CIA paid journalists to write stories. And then we can go further back to Watergate. Now, what happened there was illegal, but we had the assistant director of the FBI leaking to reporters because he was mad that he was passed up for the directorship. And he was scorned, and so he leaked to, I think it was Bernstein, And it was this whole thing. Wow, this intrepid journalist getting this information. And it was really just a disgruntled FBI employee high on the food chain who wanted to damage the administration. And of course, that's what happened. So over the last several decades, the biggest meddlers in the U.S. elections is U.S. intelligence. And of course, they're protected by the establishment members of the Democrat and Republican parties, by the media. And it's kind of hard to figure out who's controlling what? Is it the FBI and CIA that control the politicians? Or are they sort of working as one large entity? And that's what I think it is. It's not that the MSM or the politicians or the intelligence officials have the lead. They all work together. They leave the CIA and they get a job at MSNBC. We see who's married to who. Someone's wife or husband one's in politics, one's in media, one's in defense at the Defense Department. So they're all intertangled, and there's sort of a group think where they all know where they're heading, and all of their fates are wound together. And that is the bigger problem. You can't just untangle it by attacking one aspect. The whole thing is rotten. And that's what Trump exposed in his 4 years of being president, that what we're up against is not a few bad apples. The whole barrel of apples are rotten and have to be thrown out. And that is the challenge that we're facing now. We only have a handful of Republicans fighting back. And even then, they don't get very far because it takes more than a few people to clear out all these bad actors within the U.S. government, and there's too many to count, unfortunately. So the biggest meddlers, U.S. intelligence, and if that doesn't change, I mean, you don't have a country when your intelligence services are meddling in your elections. And right now we're pointing at Putin and Russia and going, oh, Putin was a member of the KGB, and that's why he's a bad guy. And George H.W. Bush was the director of the CIA before he became president. As if being a member of the Russian intelligence was somehow a bad thing, where for us, well, that's commonplace too. So there's all sorts of nonsense flying around, and they're blaming Russia for all this misinformation. And I'm not defending Russia. They're a bad actor too, but it's sort of the pot calling the kettle black. Two different sides, both using misinformation to mislead the public. And here we are stuck in the middle trying to figure out what the hell is going on. And so you have to sort of step back and go, okay, what makes sense here? What is this garbage? Why is the White House having TikTok stars try to explain the Russian-Ukraine war? I mean, how insulting is that? That's the level they're going to push their narrative by going to TikTok stars. It's incredible, but that's the point we're at now, where the establishment, the White House, they think that's a useful venue in order to spread their propaganda. So it's pretty depressing, but it is what it is. That's it for now. Again, if you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.